When someone hugs you, it's easy to get caught up in the moment and either overthink it or brush it off without realizing how much information that simple gesture carries. A hug isn't just two people's arms coming together. It's often a window into what's going on underneath the surface. The first step to leaving a lasting impression is understanding what the hug actually represents. Not every hug is the same, and the way he hugs you tells you a lot about where his feelings and comfort levels lie. Some hugs are light and quick, like a polite greeting. Others are warm and intentional, where he pulls you in and doesn't let go right away. Some feel playful, like he's testing the waters, while others have a softness that says, "I trust you," or "I feel something deeper." If you respond without noticing these cues, you risk sending mixed signals. But if you tune in, you can respond in a way that meets the moment perfectly. When he goes for that hug, pause internally for just a second, not to overanalyze, but to feel the energy. Is it firm and confident or gentle and lingering? Does he lean in with his chest or keep a bit of distance? Are his hands placed low, around your waist, or high near your shoulders? Each of these details gives you subtle insight. A friendlier surface level hug often involves upper body contact, quick pressure, and a fast release. A more emotionally intimate or romantic hug often has full body closeness, a slower pull away, or a slight squeeze. You don't need to break this down like a checklist in real time, but by becoming more aware, you train your instincts to read these signals naturally. Understanding what the hug represents isn't just about decoding his intentions, it's also about grounding your own response. If you treat every hug like it's a romantic moment, you risk giving off energy that feels mismatched. If you treat every hug casually, you might miss moments when he's trying to show something more. By reading the moment clearly, you can adjust your reaction so that it communicates exactly what you want to project, whether that's playfulness, warmth, mystery, or interest. When you respond in alignment with the energy he's giving, you create a feeling of emotional attunement, and that's what sticks with someone long after the hug ends. It's also important to remember that sometimes a hug is testing the waters. He may be unsure of where you stand, so he uses that moment to feel out your reaction. Does she lean in? Does she pull away too quickly? Does she seem comfortable? In those seconds, he's learning about your vibe, just like you're learning about his. If you're attuned to this dynamic, you gain control over the impression you leave. You can choose to respond with light warmth to keep it playful, or with a slow, genuine embrace to match deeper feelings. Either way, your response is intentional rather than accidental. The power lies in your awareness. When you understand the language behind the hug, you're no longer reacting blindly. You're engaging. This subtle understanding sets the tone for everything that follows. It allows you to mirror his energy naturally, add your unique touch, and create a moment that resonates emotionally. Because when someone feels truly understood, even in something as simple as a hug, it leaves a lasting mark on their mind. One of the most powerful ways to make a hug memorable is to mirror his energy in a way that feels natural and effortless. People are instinctively drawn to those who reflect their vibe back to them because it creates a sense of connection and emotional harmony. When he goes in for a hug, he's communicating something through his body language, whether it's playful curiosity, gentle affection, or warm confidence. If your response matches that energy, it creates a rhythm between you that feels right without needing any words. But if your response feels out of sync, too cold when he's warm, too intense when he's light, it can create a subtle emotional disconnect that breaks the moment. Imagine he greets you with a fun, playful hug, maybe a quick pull in and a laugh. If you respond stiffly or hold on too long, it feels mismatched and awkward. On the other hand, if you lean in with that same light-hearted energy, maybe even give a little squeeze back and laugh with him, it builds instant chemistry. Similarly, if his hug is slow and sincere, and you pull away too quickly, it can make him feel like his warmth wasn't received. But when you soften into it just like he does, letting the moment breathe for a second, it says without words, I get you. I feel this too. Mirroring doesn't mean copying every move like a robot. It's more about aligning your emotional tone with his. If his energy is playful, meet it with openness. If it's tender, meet it with calm presence. It's like a dance. If one person takes a gentle step forward and the other follows naturally, the flow continues smoothly. If one steps forward and the other steps back abruptly, the rhythm is broken. People often remember how interactions made them feel more than the details of what happened. And when your energy matches his, he feels seen and connected on a subtle level. This alignment also gives you a quiet sense of confidence. Instead of wondering, what should I do? You're tuning into what's happening and responding in real time. That responsiveness makes you stand out because most people are either too self-conscious or too mechanical in their reactions. By mirroring naturally, you show that you're present, not distracted or overthinking, and that presence is magnetic. It signals that you're emotionally intelligent and comfortable in your own skin, which is exactly the kind of energy that lingers in someone's mind. It's also worth noting that mirroring sets the stage for the rest of the moment. When your response matches his, it creates a sense of unspoken understanding, which makes what follows, the way you hold, the eye contact after, the way you walk away, feel even more effortless. If the vibe is already in sync during the hug, everything after flows without friction. That's why this step is so crucial. It's not just about the physical act, but about establishing a shared emotional space in those few seconds. When someone feels that you're on the same wavelength, it sticks with them. They replay the moment later and think, that felt easy. That felt good. Mirroring his energy is subtle, but it's often the difference between a hug that's forgotten and one that lingers in his mind long after he's walked away. The length of a hug may seem like a small detail, but it plays a huge role in how that moment is remembered. Most people either hold on too long in a way that feels needy, or they pull away too quickly before any emotional spark can settle. The key is finding that sweet spot, a few extra seconds that communicate warmth, presence, and interest without crossing into clingy territory. When you hold a hug just long enough, it creates a slight emotional pause, a moment that feels both comfortable and meaningful. And that's exactly the kind of moment that sticks in someone's mind. When he pulls you in for the hug, let yourself be present for a beat. Feel the hug instead of rushing through it. A quick, stiff embrace says, let's just get this over with, while an overly long grip can feel like you're trying to hold on to something that isn't there yet. But when you linger just enough, 2 or 3 seconds longer than a typical greeting, it sends a quiet message, I enjoyed this, I'm comfortable here. That subtle difference creates a small emotional imprint that he's likely to replay in his head later, often without realizing why it felt special. That brief, intentional hold also shows emotional control. It communicates that you're not desperate for his attention, but you're also not indifferent. You're fully in the moment, enjoying it, and then you let go with confidence. It's this balanced energy that often feels the most attractive because it's rare. Many people either shy away from physical closeness or overcompensate, but when you hit that natural middle ground, it creates intrigue. He feels the warmth, notices the softness of that moment, and when it ends, it leaves a slight emotional gap that makes him think about it afterward. It's also important to pay attention to his cues during the hug. If he starts to pull away and you gently release at the same time, it shows you're in tune with him. If he lingers a bit longer, you can mirror that by holding on just a second more. It becomes a silent conversation between two bodies, where timing communicates far more than words ever could. That kind of attunement makes the experience feel effortless, almost cinematic, because everything happens in sync. Holding a hug for the right amount of time can even build anticipation. When you let go too soon, the moment barely registers. But when you hold on just long enough to make him feel something before he expects it to end, it creates that slight emotional pull. It's like a favorite song ending on a note that makes you want to hear it again. That's the effect you want to create, a feeling that's complete but leaves a trace behind. The beauty of this step is in its simplicity. You don't need to overthink how long to hold him or count the seconds. It's more about being present, letting yourself enjoy the closeness, and then releasing with calm confidence. That natural rhythm is what creates a memorable emotional beat. Later, when he thinks about the moment, he won't analyze the timing, but he will remember how it felt. Comfortable, warm, and just a little different from the hugs he's used to. And that slight difference is often all it takes to stay on his mind. What truly makes a moment unforgettable is often the small, unique detail that sets it apart from everything else. Anyone can give a hug, but when you add a subtle, authentic signature move, it transforms an ordinary embrace into a personal experience he'll replay in his head later. This isn't about being overly dramatic or doing something theatrical. It's about introducing a genuine touch, gesture, or expression that reflects your personality and lingers emotionally. People rarely remember the mechanics of a hug, but they do remember how something made them feel. Your signature move becomes that emotional anchor. It could be something as simple as a soft squeeze on his arm right before you let go, a gentle stroke on his back, a playful tap, or even the way you smile when the hug ends. The key is that it should feel natural to you. Forced gestures stand out for the wrong reasons, but when your action flows effortlessly from your energy, it creates a moment that feels personal. Imagine him hugging several people in a day. Most of those hugs blur together, but yours with that small unexpected warmth will stand out in his memory like a highlight reel moment he didn't see coming. This signature move doesn't have to be physical alone. It can also be about emotional presence. Sometimes it's the way you exhale softly into the hug, giving a sense of calm. Sometimes it's the way you hold his gaze right afterward with a playful or knowing smile. It's these brief, nuanced gestures that leave an impression because they feel intentional yet effortless. They say, "I was here with you in this moment," without needing words. What makes this so powerful is that it breaks the script. Most hugs follow a predictable rhythm: pull in, hold, let go. When you add something that's uniquely yours, you subtly interrupt that rhythm in the best way. That interruption catches his attention and plants the memory deeper. Later, when he's alone, it's not the length of the hug or the mechanics he recalls, it's that one small detail that flashes in his mind and brings the feeling back. Maybe it's the warmth of your hand on his back, the playful flick of your fingers, or the quiet smile you gave. Whatever it is, it becomes your signature, and once it's there, it's hard for him to forget. It's also important to keep this signature light and genuine. You're not trying to manufacture a reaction or impress him. You're simply expressing your presence in a way that's consistent with who you are. The more effortless it feels, the more powerful it becomes. People are incredibly perceptive to authenticity. If it feels real, it resonates. If it feels staged, it falls flat. So choose something that feels comfortable, something you can do without overthinking. Adding your signature move also sets the stage for anticipation. The next time he hugs you, a part of him might unconsciously wonder if that same little moment will happen again. That creates a subtle pull, a quiet craving to relive that experience. It's like a song with a beautiful final note. You wait for it every time. Over time, this tiny gesture becomes a part of your connection, something he instinctively associates with you. The beauty of this is that it doesn't require effort or grand gestures. Just one small, meaningful action can elevate the entire interaction. While most people think being memorable requires big moves, it's often the quiet, thoughtful details that make the strongest impact. When you add that signature touch to a hug, you're giving him something to hold on to. Not physically, but emotionally. And that's exactly the kind of moment that stays on his mind long after the hug is over. The moment right after a hug often determines whether that experience becomes just another fleeting interaction or something that lingers in his mind. Most people break away and immediately look down to the side or try to fill the space with nervous chatter. But holding soft, confident eye contact for even a second can completely change the emotional tone of that moment. It turns a simple embrace into something charged with presence, warmth, and a hint of intrigue. It's in that quiet second that the emotional connection locks in. When the hug ends, there's usually a tiny pause, a natural gap before either person speaks or moves on. Most people rush through it because they feel awkward, but that's exactly where the magic is. If you simply look at him with calm, relaxed confidence, it creates a ripple effect. That eye contact communicates. I was fully here with you, without needing a single word. It shows that you're not uncomfortable with closeness, and you're not trying to escape the intensity of the moment. You're comfortable in it, and that's rare enough to make it memorable. This doesn't mean staring at him intensely or holding eye contact for an uncomfortably long time. The power is in the softness. A gentle gaze, maybe paired with a small smile or even a playful glimmer, is enough. It's not about proving anything, it's about letting him feel your presence. That simple second of eye contact can make his heartbeat quicken, not because of what you did, but because of the confidence and emotional clarity behind it. People are drawn to those who can hold space without rushing away. And when you do this, it creates a moment that sticks. Think about how rare it is for someone to truly hold eye contact after a close moment. Most people break it out of nervousness or distraction, which is why when someone doesn't, it stands out. It's unexpected, but in the best way. That soft gaze right after a hug acts like an emotional punctuation mark. It seals the moment. He might not even consciously understand why it felt special, but he'll feel it. It's often this brief but meaningful eye contact that makes a man think back later and replay the interaction in his mind. Eye contact after a hug also gives you a quiet power. Instead of passively letting the moment dissolve, you're directing how it lands. You're saying, without words, I'm aware of this moment and I'm fully here. That grounded presence is magnetic. It signals confidence, emotional intelligence, and a touch of mystery. It's the difference between blending in and standing out in his memory. Even if nothing else is said, that second of shared eye contact can create a spark. It might make him smile unexpectedly, hesitate for a moment, or feel a shift in energy between you. It's subtle, but that's what makes it so effective. Grand gestures can be forgotten, but genuine, confident eye contact lingers because it connects on a deeper level. By embracing that quiet second instead of avoiding it, you create a powerful emotional imprint. You're not rushing away, you're not overanalyzing, you're simply allowing the moment to breathe. That calm, intentional gaze can echo in his mind long after he's walked away, making the hug feel less like a passing gesture and more like a shared, intimate moment he won't easily forget. How you walk away after a hug can be just as impactful as the hug itself. Many people underestimate this final moment, but it's often the lasting image someone carries with them. If you linger nervously, overanalyze your body language, or act hesitant, it can unintentionally dilute the spark you just created. On the other hand, if you walk away with natural confidence and ease, it leaves a strong, memorable impression. It's like the closing scene of a movie. How it ends determines how the audience feels when the lights come up. When the hug ends, resist the urge to fidget, rush, or immediately fill the space with awkward small talk. Take a soft breath, maintain that relaxed energy, and then step back with the same quiet confidence you held during the hug. This shows that the moment didn't throw you off balance. You were fully present and are now moving on with grace. That sense of emotional steadiness is incredibly attractive because it communicates self-assurance. It tells him that you're comfortable with intimacy, but you don't depend on it for validation. That subtle confidence is often what sticks with someone long after the interaction. Think about the difference between someone who pulls away, avoids eye contact, and scurries off versus someone who gently lets go, smiles, and walks away like they own their presence. The latter leaves a trail of curiosity behind. He'll find himself wondering about you, not because of any game you played, but because of how grounded you felt. Confidence at the end of a moment signals that the connection you shared wasn't accidental, it was intentional, and that's powerful. This doesn't mean you have to make a dramatic exit. It's about small, controlled movements that reflect calm energy. Maybe it's a light smile, a playful comment, or simply walking away with a relaxed posture. The key is that your energy remains steady. You're not looking back anxiously to see his reaction, and you're not rushing like you need to escape. You're simply moving on as if the hug was a natural, enjoyable moment, not the entire event. This balance of warmth and independence is what creates lasting intrigue. Walking away confidently also creates space for him to process the moment. When you leave with poise, it gives him a chance to feel the afterglow of the hug without distractions. If you stay too long or act uncertain, it can make the moment feel forced. But when you leave at just the right time, it creates a clean emotional imprint. It's like leaving a room that still holds your scent. You're no longer physically there, but your presence lingers. This final step also reinforces a key message. You're someone who brings good energy, but doesn't need to chase validation. You shared a warm, memorable moment, and then carried yourself with the kind of quiet strength that's hard to ignore. That combination of connection and self-possession is magnetic. It makes him think about you later, not just because of the hug, but because of the way you carried yourself afterward. In the end, walking away with confidence is the perfect closing note. It ties everything together. The way you understood the hug mirrored his energy, held just the right amount of time, added your signature touch, and sealed it with eye contact. This final move completes the emotional rhythm. He's left with a clear image you, calm and confident, walking away like you know your worth. That image stays in his mind long after the moment has passed, making the entire experience feel intentional and unforgettable.